Hey, what is up? It's Dean Soto, and today we talk about how to effectively increase pricing in your business. I'm an introvert, very difficult to do, very difficult to get into the habit of doing this. And one of the big things that helped me, which we'll talk about. So first off, we're going to talk about the most important thing that you need to consider when you are increasing price, the absolute 100% most important thing. Two, how to make it easy on your customers to increase your pricing, the ones that you already have and the ones that you're already bringing in. And then three, how to determine how much you should actually increase. And so we're going to talk about all of those coming up. But first, like, subscribe, do all that, and really appreciate it. The more you hit the like button, the more the algorithm will show this to other people and to help other people who are struggling with this. So back when I first started Prosulum, back when it was like an IT company, this was 2009, I think. 2009, something like that, 2009, 2008. Well, I started in 2009, but I don't know if I really got a first customer during that time. But I got my first customer from Craigslist. And the way that I did this was I went on Craigslist and I said, "Hey, I'll fix any problem you have with your computer, and if I can do it over the phone, it'll be free." And so I ended up getting, like, my very first customer was this old lady that called up and she was like, "Hi, yes, I don't know why my mouse isn't working, and I saw your ad in Craigslist and I thought I'd give you a call." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, let's go through it." I remember I was in my office, which was literally just like a desk and a computer monitor, and that's about it. I'm like, "Well, let's see what's going on." Okay, so one is it a wireless mouse or is it a plugged-in mouse? Oh, I think it's one that you plug in. And I said, "Okay, well, let's see. Is it plugged into the back of the computer?" "Oh, no, it's plugged into the front of the computer." And I said, "Okay, well, let's try and plug it into the back. Sometimes you have to switch the ports and the drivers will kick in." So she literally just switches the mouse to the back of the computer. I walk her through all that, and boom, the drivers kick in, and her thing was fixed. Right? How much money did I make off of that? Zero. And so then the next time, I actually had a house call. So I went to the house, and long story short, the person had a virus on their computer. She was and she didn't know how to get it off. And so I actually had to take her computer to my house, clear it all out, and then bring it all back. It was crazy. It ended up taking me like 8 hours. But I told her it was going to be $50. And after that 8 hours, she's like, "I'm not paying you $50. I'll pay you $100 for that. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing all of that." And I was ecstatic. I was like, "Whoa, I just got more money than I've ever gotten in business ever." And so that led me to determine how much is my price worth, right? So now, as you know, fast forward almost a decade or more than a decade, how are my virtual systems architects at Prosulum? How do I price them? How do I set their billable rate so that the customers are happy with what they're getting? They're actually getting a cost savings plus an effective worker, somebody who's really taking over their business and giving them a lot of freedom. And how do I but how do I make it to where I can actually make a good profit, right? And so step number one, the biggest thing you can do is change your mindset. I used to think that when I'm raising my prices or when I'm pricing in general, then I'm taking from the customer. How could I ask for this much when it just seems so wrong? I'm so used to being an employee and only making, $15, $20, $30 an hour, right? When I was working in aerospace, I think I was at like $35 an hour or something like that. And yet I'm asking for so much more now, right? So changing that mindset from that to I am delivering value. I am giving them more in value than what they are paying me. So when they are paying our guys, as of this recording, when they're paying, definitely in California, way below minimum wage, our guys per hour, and yet that's still very profitable for our business. If I were to see that as, oh, well, I'm just totally just taking from them, I'm giving, then it wouldn't work, right? But when I see that, one, they're spending less than they would for an employee here in California, and then on top of that, what's happening? On top of that, they are getting a worker, somebody who documents everything that they're doing into a process document and then does it so they don't have to work again. Now they have freedom to go be with their family. They have freedom to go do their favorite hobby, to go build another business, to go work on 3 businesses, whatever it might be, right? It's a huge value increase for them all around, right? So the biggest thing is having a product or service and knowing that you are giving them so much more value. And it has to be true, obviously, but that you're giving them so much more value than what they're paying for. So that's step number 1. Number 2 is, how do I actually increase my prices, right? So here at Prosulum, what we do, rather than increasing the prices for our existing customers, unless we absolutely have to, we like doing kind of like a step up method where our existing customers generally are going to stay around the same, but any new client we come in that we bring in, we increase it. It might be like a 20% increase, of 30%, of 40%. We'll test. We'll say, are they willing to pay? So like, for example, we just started doing what we call virtual art directors, and that's going to be a whole branch off of a new thing. Are they going to be willing to pay, basically 100% more for a art director, a designer, somebody that they can just say, hey, I really want an amazing YouTube content experience, but I don't want to have to guide you and babysit you on how to design all of that stuff, right? Having someone like that, are they willing to pay way more for somebody like that, or are they not? And that is when, because if you have this strong base of already existing clients who are paying you on a regular basis, why recurring is so important, and anytime we talk about business here on this channel, you are going to, I'm always going to say recurring. You want to have recurring all the time. Even if you make $100,000 per customer and it's just one time, it sucks. You want to have that recurring because it builds a base that you can grow off of and do things like this. So what we'll do is we will literally test. We'll throw something wild out there. It might be something that's like 200% and say, this is what we're looking at. And and what happens generally is they'll either say, oh, okay, that sounds good. Yeah, all right. Yeah, we'll look into that in the future. Which means no. Which means no, that's not going to quite work, right? Though it'll be either something like that, or the next thing will be like, yeah, that sounds good. How do we get started? Which tells you, oh, that is within the range of, especially with like designers. Like here in the States, you're going to be spending a lot on a designer, like a really, really, really good designer. And I'm talking about, we have designers that we're finding that are doing stuff for big name companies like that you see on TV all the time, okay? You're gonna be paying a lot for them. So even with what we test out, a lot of the times it's far less than what you would pay for somebody over here, right, in the States. So you throw this out there and you see what sticks. Okay, if that was too high, then you kind of just count it as a loss, and then the next customer, you go and you kind of lower it a bit, and you lower it a bit. And normally you don't have to lower it that much, right? So, you might lose a couple of prospects, but what you gain when you do that is you get that sweet spot, and the prospects who really weren't going to pay, didn't want to pay that much more anyway, usually aren't great clients anyway, right? And so when they accept at that sweet spot, they're generally amazing clients, and you could give them amazing value, they can give you amazing value, and it's just this mutually beneficial relationship. You have enough breathing room with your profit to send gifts, like one of my previous videos that I talked about, sending gifts, doing things that nobody else can do, and that allows you to then get more clients, more customers, and so on and so forth, right? So the point of this is to have your base of clients that you're not really raising rates. In my opinion, I try not to raise rates at all if I don't have to. Sometimes it's through inflation, it's necessary, but a lot of the times, I try and keep it to where we don't. And I was just looking here, I need to look there. So I try to keep it there. And then over here with the new ones coming in, or it's the same client, but wanting a different type of product or something, you can test that new pricing and stuff. The other thing you can do with that, kind of following on that, is if you know you're going to have to raise prices, you can say, which we've done before, is that, hey, we're going to be raising rates, but if you want a new VSA right now, we'll lock in that rate for a year, and then we're going to raise the rates in a year for you. So then it's kind of like almost like an urgency thing, but you're also caring enough about them to not just boom raise the rates, right? That's one of the things I don't. Yeah. Anyway, so that is one of that's a major way that we go about doing that, is kind of keeping everyone stagnant over here and testing on new people, and eventually it starts evening out, and eventually you might have to raise the rates over here, but you can even say, hey, we actually raised our rates 2 years ago for everyone new, and now we're bringing you up to that rate. We wanted to make sure that you had an extra 2 years so that you can have some cost savings with us, right? So pretty cool. Okay. And so the last part of this is what was the last part? The last part of this was really having a valuable product that people are going to want, right? So with that, obviously, if you have a valuable product that people actually enjoy and people actually need, and you're providing a ton of value, then they are going to be okay with you raising your rates, right? Especially like with things in coaching, there's so many different, to me, like coaching and SEO and a lot of service-based businesses, they're a commodity, right? So really when you have something that's kind of more of a niche, something that really you excel so much on, like for example, our VSAs, I mean, there's tons of virtual assistant agencies right out there, right? Well, with our VSAs, they are systems oriented. They document systems from your video, and you show them, so you're spending 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they document it, boom, 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 and then they do it, right? That's very niche. Only people who want to have systems done for them are going to understand the value of that. And if they don't understand the value of it, and they just want to get a virtual assistant, I just need someone that can take this work off of my plate, then they're probably not a good fit, right? They should go somewhere where they could pay less for somebody, and they're going to spend a ton of time hiring them, and they're going to find people who suck, and then maybe they'll find someone who is good, but they're not going to find someone who can scale their business, who can actually help scale their business through documented processes. So number 3 is definitely, you want to have that product, that service that lends itself to price increases, okay? That they really can't find anywhere else, right? It's funny because I've had people in the past, I have one guy in particular who who left and was like, I went basically on my own to go and find some virtual assistants, and they don't do what your guys do. Can I come back? And I'm like, at first, it depends. Actually, depends on who it is. If they left on good terms, if they did not leave on good terms. The good thing about having a product like this and having a good customer base is you can say, see ya. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Okay. But at the same time, those people who are like, yeah, I thought I could save some money. I thought, it happens. I thought I can save some money by going over here to Upwork or to Hubstaff Talent or wherever and find someone, but your guys are just too good. And the fact that they document everything is just amazing, right? So having that product and service that lends itself to higher prices because you're literally the only game in town. Even if it's something similar, it's not the same, right? That's a huge, huge, huge thing. So yeah, effective mindset, changing and reframing your mindset. Next is taking care of your existing clients and testing on new clients, okay? Testing on new people increases, okay, over time. And then last, having a product and service that's niche enough, that's different enough where it warrants that increase in price. Very huge, very, 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 very huge aspect to this, because if you're just a commodity, you're not going to be able to raise your prices very well. But it just have to have that one little twist, one little thing. It doesn't have to be very different, but it has to be different enough to where they can't find it anywhere else, right? All right, so this is Dean Soto. Go check out freedomin5minutes.com, freedomin5minutes.com. Go check out prosulum.com, prosulum.com, and I'll see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes video. See ya.